it's not just what you want, it's also how much you want it that would matter for your motivation. So the three findings from Stephen was that we all share these 16 basic needs. They are universal across the world. And they are intrinsic motives. Around 160,000 people today, I need to update this slide, have done the RMP test. So the norm is pretty stable by now. It's also about the intensity of the motivation. And he worked a long time to form the statements to distinguish the people who were really motivated about something or from something from the ones that were, you know, moderately motivated by something. And then the self-hugging, the assumption that what is potentially best for me is also potentially best for everybody else. This is the bias that I talked about before. So we have the 16 basic needs, and these are the needs that you may need to make possible for everybody in the organization to live, regardless if they are high or low or in the middle. So this is a typical profile where we see that the darker blue color, it signals a high need for that motive. Light blue color signals a weak need for that motive. And in the middle, we have the orange color when it's neither high nor low need. That means that it can be situationally depending. So, for example, at work, I have a high degree of power, but not at home if you are in the orange field. So it could be in different situations. You have the flexibility to be both high and low if you're in the middle. But the more you are high or low, the stronger that or weaker that basic need is. So there is no good or bad profile, or there are no good or bad basic needs. It's actually how we let the needs come out that makes the whole difference. How do we behave as a result from the basic needs? And this is something we can decide ourselves. We decide our behaviors. We decide our actions. So basic desire is not the same as behavior, but it will most of the time affect your behavior in some way. So do we let it come out in a way that has good or bad effects on our environment? So compare high power, and maybe Hitler was high on the need for power. Maybe also Nelson Mandela was high on the need for power and influence. So both of them were high on power, but they used it in two totally different ways. So the intensity of the need varies, but everybody has all the needs to some extent. Even if you have a very weak need for power, you still have the power need. But this is a normative curve. So you see in the middle, here's where most people are, 68%. And then we have 14% who has a strong versus weak need. And only 2% has a very strong or very weak need. Take the need for independence, for example. If we are have a very strong need for independence, we almost have no emotional alternative. So if you end up in the middle, you are situationally depending and don't have any clear preference. It may be that you show one side at work and one side at home, but the stronger or weaker a need is, the more you tend to behave according to that need. Although we can control behavior, don't forget about that. So weak independence means that you are more team-oriented, you like to work together, you have no problem getting help from other people. Whereas when you're high on independence, it means that you don't want to work in teams. You want to work alone and you don't want help from other people. You want to be unique and special and you want to do it yourself.